Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing very well on this very lovely Sunday, and I hope you had a great weekend and it was full of reading and relaxation, family time. Maybe you got a few things done. I got some chores in. I reorganized all my bookshelves. I've done laundry. I've done a bunch of stuff, but I did read a book yesterday. I went book shopping yesterday, started a new book today, so I got some fun stuff in as well. So today is the second in my Gray Expectations series. I had someone ask me why I'm calling it the Gray Expectations. That's because Gray is my last name. I think the pun is clever, so I hope you guys do too. But these are going to be the books coming out in August that I'm excited about, and I'll tell you more about them as we go along. Now, the first two that I'm going to tell you about, I'm not going to tell you a ton about, other than they've been out in the UK and the US editions are coming out. And I just want to sort of put that on your radar if you haven't heard about them, or you were waiting for the US editions. The first is The Three Things About Elsie by Joanna Cannon. I know that this has been talked about a lot. It was longlisted for the Women's Prize. I think this is the story of two friends, Florence and Elsie. Florence has fallen and is injured, and as she's sitting there waiting to be rescued, she's thinking about the past and a dark secret. I like there's a line in sort of the bio where it says that there's a new man in the home establishment, and she thinks he reminds her of someone who died already. I've heard great things about this. I will say that the US won the cover battle on this, so if you want to see an amazing cover, check out the US edition of Three Things About Elsie. It is fantastic. It may be one of those books where I own both covers because, yeah, it's that good, you guys. So this also comes out in August, okay? The next book that was also shortlisted, actually, for the Women's Prize, that is Sight by Jessie Greengrass. This also comes out in the US in August, and the UK won the cover battle. In this case, I do not care for the US cover at all, but I'm excited to finally get to this book. This is the story of a woman who is about to give birth, and she's thinking about motherhood, and she's thinking about her mother, who also just passed away. If you guys need an outstanding review of this book, I highly recommend you check out Eric the Lonesome Reader. He did an entire video about this. He thought it would win the Booker Prize, and his review made me think it was going to win the Booker Prize, and made me super excited to read it. So if you haven't had a chance, check that out. But this also gets published in the US in August. Okay. Oops, sorry. A little movement there. I'm not going to say any of these books are more exciting than the others to me, but this one is super excited. So I have to really thank Riverhead Books for sending me a copy of Flights. Now, Flights is the winner of the Man Booker International Prize. I'm going to hold the author's name up there for you, because you know I'm not going to even try. This is translated from the Polish by Jennifer Croft, and I am so excited for this. And just a shout out to my friend Matt Sharapa and I want to say Kendra Winchester, and insert literary pun here. They are hosting at the end of August a Women in Translation Month readathon. So if you're looking, this book comes out before that readathon starts. So if you're looking for a book to add to that, I highly recommend this. I will say, I don't know if you've read a lot of books translated from the Polish, but I haven't. So I'm super excited about this. Let me read you what it's about, just because it's one of those interwoven story things, and I don't want any, I just can't summarize it the way. It says, a 17th century Dutch anatomist discovers the Achilles tendon by dissecting his own amputated leg. A woman returns to her native Poland to poison her terminally ill high school sweetheart. Chopin's heart is carried back to Warsaw in secret by his adoring sister. A young man descends into madness when his wife and child mysteriously vanish during a vacation and just as suddenly reappear. Through their brilliantly imagined characters and stories interwoven with haunting, playful, and revelatory mediations, Flights explores with brilliant originality what it means to be a traveler, a wanderer, a body in motion, not only through space, but also through time. And I think it sounds fantastic. This is definitely on my TBR for August, and I will definitely review it when I'm done with it. Thank you again to Riverhead Books for sending it to me. I have never been so excited. So this is one of my hot topics for August. Cool. Okay. But I will say that I was super excited when this book wound up somehow in my possession, and that is The Arid Sky by Emiliano Mongi, translated from the Spanish by Thomas Burnstead. Now, the author of this, Emiliano, is a superstar in the Mexico literary scene. So it's super excited that his first book is being translated into English, and this comes to us by Restless Books. Now, what triggers me on this is one of my favorite authors, and probably my top 5 is Cormac McCarthy. I just love his sparse, real, visceral style, and this author gets a lot of comparisons to Cormac McCarthy. So that's a big trigger. So if you like that, this may be a book for you to pick up in August. Do I know when in August it publishes? The 14th. And this is the story of one man's life. And Germán Alcántara Carnero, my Spanish is weak. I don't practice as much as I used to. But it's about him going across borders. There's a missing child. There's all sorts of stuff. But it's a slim little book that I think is going to pack quite a punch. And I started actually the first few pages with it. It has a very poetic style. And I think it's so exciting when literary superstars from other countries get an opportunity to be translated to English so more people can read them. I wish that we all spoke second and third languages here as well as they do around the world, because we would probably read a lot of different authors. But I'm super excited that this is coming into English, and thank you very much, Restless Books. That is The Arid Sky by Emiliano Mongi, translated from the Spanish by Thomas Burnstead. There you go. Okay, I talked about the next book. It was one of the 6 big buzz books at Book Expo this year, and it is nonfiction. It's called Small Animals, Parenthood in the Age of Fear by Ken Brooks. This is out by Flatiron Books. If you guys remember me talking about this at all, but this book is about Kim. One day she was on her way to the airport and she had to stop at Target to grab something that they were missing. She left her young child in the car, ran in, came back out. And when she got to her mother's house, someone had videotaped her child in the car, turned her into the police, and her mother actually, was getting phone calls from the police. And it turned into a 2-year battle regarding Kim as a mother, and all of that sort of stuff, as you can imagine, is probably going to be so painful and heartbreaking and eye-opening. And what Kim does in this book is sort of examines how times have changed and how we sort of parent in the current time in a state of constant fear for our children. I have heard nothing but fantastic things about this. And it also comes out in August from Flatiron Books. So Small Animals, Kim Brooks. If that sounds like it's up your alley, I think you definitely should pick it up. Okay. The next book is a Grey Wolf Press edition, and you know how I love myself some Grey Wolf Press. And it is This Mournable Body, a novel by Stitzi Ding. Oh, I'm just going to hold it up, guys. There's just no way. I don't want to butcher that name because it probably sounds beautiful when said correctly. And this comes out on the 7th of August, so this is probably the one that's coming out the most recent, the most soon to be, most recently. That doesn't make any sense. It hasn't come out yet. This is set in Zimbabwe, which I don't know about you, but I have not read a lot of Zimbabwe fiction, so that is super exciting. And I guess this is sort of a continuation. One of her characters from a previous novel makes it back, and I'm just going to read part of this where it says the main character, so she finds herself living in a rundown youth hostel in downtown Harare, that is so wrong, a city in Zimbabwe. At every turn in her attempt to make a life for herself, she is faced with fresh humiliation until the painful contrast between the future she imagined and her daily reality ultimately drives her to a breaking point. As a last resort, she takes an ecotourism job that forces her to return to her parents' impoverished homestead, a homecoming that culminates in a heartbreaking act of betrayal. Tense and psychologically charged, this novel examines the obstacles facing women in Zimbabwe and how the potential of a young girl and a fledgling nation can sour over time and become a bitter struggle for survival. One, I love this cover. I love everything that sounds like. I love Grey Wolf Press. So if you're looking for something that you probably haven't heard of yet, now you have. Go get this book. It comes out on August 4th. It's right around the corner. And I'm sorry, August 7th. right around the corner, and definitely pick it up and support this amazing book. So this is This Mournable Body, and I'm going to hold it up there for you, okay? There you go. Perfect. Okay. I also talked about this book in the Book Expo. This was one of the YA books that they were most buzzed about, and that is Darius the Great is Not Okay by Adib Khorram. And this is also on my, I'm going to get to it in August because I really want to read this book. This is about a young boy who is a total nerd. He speaks Klingon, does all of that stuff, half Persian, half white. Doesn't quite feel like he fits in anywhere. And he goes to Persia to meet or to be with his mother's family, and he meets a little boy next door. And I say little boy, they're teenagers, but to me, at my age, everyone's a little boy who's a teenager. But this is his story of self-discovery, of friendship, of relationships. Someone compared this on the panel to Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which I totally loved. The author is nothing but sweet, and I am so excited to get to this. And so that's Darius the Great is Not Okay by Adib Khorram, and I can't wait. And when I talked about this book in that original video, someone said that it is absolutely worth all the hype. So there you go. There you go. Okay, so I have 3 more books to tell you about. This is, this is out by Dial. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to tell you that. So this is out by Dial, so don't forget that part. This is out by Soho Press, and this is Nightsoil by Daniel Peck. Now, Daniel Peck wrote a novel that my friend Ollie Bliss considers his favorite novel of all time. So when I met him and saw him, I was very excited to pick up his new book. This is the story of mainly 2 people. So Dixie is the main character, the adult main character. She's an artist, and she creates this art that is perfect. And she does sort of like sculpting by hand, and people don't believe that it's by hand because it's so perfect. And there's that piece. And then there's her son, who is dealing with his sexuality. He is coming to terms with that in a very maybe not the safest way. How's that sound? And he winds up going to a private school that was actually founded by his grandfather. And as that happens, he starts to sort of dive into the family, and secrets come up. As you can imagine, he has his own secrets. So there's all of that. So does that not sound like it's going to be really cool? So that is Nightsoil by Daniel Peck. Dale Peck. Why do I know a Daniel Peck. That's why. Dale Peck. Nightsoil, Dale Peck, Soho Press. I'm sorry, Dale. I'm sorry I got your name wrong. My friend will be very happy that I said his name 4 or 5 times in this video. There you go. And that's also out in August, just remember. The next book I'm sort of like on the verge about telling you guys about, but I don't read enough YA fiction. But I feel like this one has all sorts of trigger warnings, but I want you guys to know that it's out there. And that's Not What Happened by Cody Keplinger. This is out by Scholastic, and it also comes out later this month. And this is the story of a boy who was best friends with a girl who was killed in a mass shooting in a school. And there's about to be a book published about her because people have an idea of how she died. And he knows that that's not how it happened, and trying to make the decision on whether or not to come forward. This book sounds like, to me, it's going to be so sad. Like, there's so much in it. I'm hoping that this really unique angle sort of takes it apart and re-puts it back together. But I have a feeling this is going to be really sensitive topic. So if it's going to be something that's for you, that's going to make you offset, just know that going in. And if you have young readers, maybe this isn't the book exactly for them. But that's Not What Happened by Cody Keplinger. 6 survived to tell the truth. I'm sorry, to tell the story, but who knows the truth? That's the byline on it. There you go. And then the last book I'm going to tell you about is a bit of historical fiction, and that is The Masterpiece by Fiona Davis. She wrote The Dollhouse, which I know about. She writes a lot of historical fiction. that take place in a certain place. And this takes place in Grand Central Station in New York City, which I finally got to go to, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. This is the story of two different women in two different time periods. One is 1928. We have a young woman who goes to an art school that is in Grand Central Station to teach art at a time when women artists weren't highly thought of. And then the Great Depression comes along and changes all of that. We also then have a second woman in the 1970s as there's a battle going on whether or not to tear down Grand Central Station. Is it a historical landmark, or is it just a place that needs to be gone? And she needs the job that she has inside Grand Central Station to support her family. And one day she finds a room in this art school and a piece of art. And then we're going to see, I think, how all of that comes together. My friend, I have a friend who read this book just recently and told me that it is really solid historical fiction. If this is the type of stuff you like, this is going to be a book for you. And I got this signed, and she was so nice, you guys. So that's The Masterpiece by Fiona Davis. So there you go. Those are some books that are coming out in August. I hope you guys pick some up. Have any of them been on your radar? Anything you're super excited about? Anything you may have already read? Did you get an advanced copy? I cannot wait to hear about it. So I hope you guys like these videos. And as always, if you are a return subscriber, thank you so very, very much. And if you are new to my channel, I hope you like this. And until next time, happy reading, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.